Hello team, Coach Tim here. Just thought it'd be really fun for us to take a look at Tom Kim, the most recent winner on the PGA Tour at the Wyndham Championship, and just try and take a look and see at some of the things that he does extremely well that might help us out with our golf game. And boy, is Tom on a whirlwind of some good golf as of late. Number one, he is the youngest winner on tour since World War II, aside from Jordan Spieth, so he's obviously in really good company right there. Number two, I don't know if you're aware of this, Tom made a quadruple bogey on the very first hole of the tournament at the Wyndham, and he ended up winning by 5 shots. Can you imagine what would have taken place, obviously, if he had made par, birdie, bogey on that first hole? Number one, obviously he would have run away with it even more, but number two, just look at the perseverance that this young man already has inside his skills to be able to respond so beautifully to that rather poor start. So really neat stuff here, and I think that there are some fun things for us to take a look at in relationship to his golf swing. So let's stop with the accolades for now about how well this young man is playing and see what he does with his technique. Now, I think the most fun thing that we should be aware of when we take a look at Tom's golf swing, it's unique. It's very unique. But at the same time, having just shared his uniqueness, obviously it produces world-class results. And there's a little bit of a Danielle King look to how Tom basically squares up the club face. I'm sure he's a hugely high launcher of the golf ball with his delivery of the golf club. And for those of us that want to learn how to hit the golf ball higher and softer, maybe his technique is a great place for us to take a look at. So what does Tom do unique and different with his golf swing, with his technique? And I think the first place that we probably want to take a quick look at that is look where his ball position is. That's at least 2 to 3 golf balls back of his target foot. Now, most of us have always been taught to play the golf ball significantly more forward for a driver, but this matches up perfectly for where the bottom of Tom's arc is for his driver, which we'll see that's unique at impact, and we'll take a closer look at that here in another second. Let's go ahead and start to move Tom to the top part of his backswing, and you're going to see here throughout different elements of his backswing that Tom's not hinging the golf club very much. Most of us are much more used to seeing maybe a right angle, 90 degrees here at the top part of the backswing. And obviously Tom is not that. Sergio Garcia, he is not, right? But again, we're going to start to see that these unique characteristics for Tom's golf swing work really well for him. Let's go ahead and start to see what happens for Tom on his downswing. Tom does not retain a lot of lag. In fact, he really starts throwing the golf club relatively soon and early in his downswing sequence. And take a look at this picture right here, just after impact. You can see the golf ball is just barely 6 inches after impact. And look how much the shaft is leaning away from the target at impact. That's an incredibly unique element and unique characteristic for a world-class golfer. So how did Tom shoot 20 under par and run away and win this tournament by 5 and be one of the most up-and-coming tournament players in the game today? We need to take a look at his setup to dive in a little deeper. Now, as we take a closer look at Tom's technique, Tom is grabbing the golf club in an incredibly open-faced manner, where his hands are on the golf club. The V of his left hand is pointing towards his left shoulder. The V on his right hand is pointing just to the right of his chin. Dynamically, even though the club face looks like it's square here down at the bottom of the swing, Tom has to make all sorts of unique closing elements to be able to hit a golf ball straight. He does that a little bit by getting the golf club into a flexed position with his left wrist at the top part of his backswing. That club face is still probably a little bit into an open face position compared to normal. And then he has to throw the club a lot here to be able to hit the right part of the golf ball and square up his club face. Okay? Now, All of these are incredibly efficient and powerful elements that match up together beautifully. And that's ultimately what we're all trying to do. So what do we ultimately take away from Tom's golf swing? I think the first thing that we take away from Tom's golf swing is to look for the most impactful pieces of information that helps you control the golf ball in an efficient and consistent manner. It doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be technically correct or technically right. I hear that up on my lesson tee all the time. It just needs to be technically correct enough to help you control your golf ball and be repetitive, be functional, and help you execute the golf shots the way that you want to. Let that be your new task, and I think you'll be on your way to playing some of the best golf of your life. Best of luck.